Hi, Bob. It's Dawn Marie. You're muted. Hold on. You should be able to unmute yourself now.
Yep, I am. Thank you.
Oh, great. Hi.
How are you?
Good, thanks. How are you?
I'm great.
I'm glad you're able to get on.
Yeah, Fred will be calling in or whatever, just so you know that he'll be joining if he has anything to say. I don't really know, but
Okay.
he's with us.
Great. I'm going to go see if Gary's here. He's going to be using the computer upstairs.
Gary Ellis?
Yes.
Yeah.
So.
Dawn Marie.
Yeah.
Gary is
Hi. Hi,
here.
Gary.
Hi, Bob.
Hi.
How are
Bob.
you?
Hi, Gary.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
How's it look? You got everything you need, Gary?
Where's the agenda?
Is there an agenda here, Dawn Marie?
I don't think there is, so I will bring one up. You got your script, right?
You got everybody.
Hmm?
Is everybody here for the meeting? Not here yet. Oh, there's Liz.
Liz.
Christine was in earlier.
I already read these stuff. So I left because if they were holding over the articles, muted it.
Hi, Bob.
Hi, how are you, Christine?
Okay, how you been?
I've been good. Actually, I had a fall last week and I haven't been walking, so
Oh,
it rolled my ankle and it's painful.
don't do that.
No, I try not to do that again. It's going to force me to slow down.
Oh, heavens.
Yeah, I know.
Because I think all the questions for these were asked ahead of time.
Yep, you have those.
It doesn't matter. I've read all them
She's
before.
got to do more
So
of a packet.
what's most important to me is this, the packet stuff I have at home.
No, I know, but she sent out an email to Bob and Rick with the questions. that
Yeah.
have come today.
Nice job, Christine, last night.
Oh, thank you. I had my say.
I know, it was good. Well done. Hi, Liz.
How did last night go? I apologize for not being there.
I even told Karen that there was no reason for any of you to go. I mean, if we knew ahead of time.
But how did it go?
Well, 9 of the 15 articles got held over to spring. So basically all of ours. So they just did 6
Okay,
because they had to get through the whiff, And, they've known for a year we had to get through the whiff, and we wait till the 1 hour before the town meeting to make decisions. I thought the thing was just embarrassing, but so be it. Not that everything went our way, so it passed for us to have the exemption.
that's a good thing.
Well, it's good and bad. Christine spoke against it, and I don't blame her. But this was our part of compromise. We gave them this in exchange for keeping us at 3. Christine spoke in a manner she doesn't think CPA should be reduced at all, and I certainly respect that. But, it's a matter of politics. We stay at 3, and we keep going. As long as it passes on the ballot. I can't see, the whiff might not go on the ballot, but I can't see people not going along with ours. The problem is going to be if we get to the ballot and the whiff is turned down, and obviously everybody's going to vote for the exemption. So then we end up losing that 100,000, and it doesn't go to where we wanted it to go.
Always a risk.
I'm not a good politician. We did all we could do. Right, Christine?
Right.
Yep. And that's what happened in Mashpee. I don't know if anybody talked with Mary Wegman, but they turned the whiff down, and then they supported reducing CPA by 1%. Well, I don't know if, Dawn, are you there?
Hi, I'm here. Yeah, I'm checking.
Who else is coming?
Mary Ann cannot open. The link did not work. All right, let me try to send her another link.
So is she trying to get on?
Yes. And we've got Liz, Christine, and George.
We got 4. We're not going to vote on anything, I don't believe today, but we should.
I don't think so, but it'd be nice for her to see these presentations if I can get her on.
Yep. So is Rick Bishop on yet? I don't see him.
I didn't see him.
Because we could skip over him because Bob Kelley's obviously here, so could hear that one first.
Do that. Give Mary Ann a minute. I just sent her the link, so hopefully she'll be able to log in. Do you want to start with the opening, Gary?
Yes, who's reading the opening ceremonies?
Well,
I can call the
what,
meeting.
you want me to start with the precautionary measure part, and then you can do the
Roll call.
roll call for quorum?
Yep, let me just start by calling. It's according to my clock, it's 3:04, so I'm going to call the meeting of the CPA is now starting. So if you want to read the script, Don.
Sure. As a precautionary measure to reduce the spread of the coronavirus, all town buildings are closed to the public, and the November 18, 2020 Community Preservation Committee meeting will be held by remote participation. My name is Dawn Marie Flett. I'm the CPA Program Coordinator for the town of Yarmouth, and I'll be serving as moderator for this virtual meeting. Although no in-person attendance will be permitted, every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access and participate in the proceedings. Persons who would like to view or listen to this meeting while in progress may do so by watching via this virtual meeting or dialing into the number provided on the notice of meeting. Also, we will also post a recording of this meeting on the Town of Yarmouth website as soon as we are able. Please be patient as we work to overcome any technological challenges with the virtual meeting. For all meetings, to reduce confusion, all audience participants enter the meeting muted. Participants will be unmuted when called upon to speak by the chair or moderator. If you are not speaking, please mute yourself to avoid unnecessary background noise. All votes must be roll call votes. After a motion is made and there's a second, the chair will ask for roll call votes. For public participation, comments or questions from the public will be taken at the discretion of the chair. Members of the public may speak by selecting the raise hand button and waiting for the chair to call on them. If you are dialed in on the phone number provided, you can press *9 on your phone to indicate that you would like to comment. Members of the public recognized by the chair are asked to identify themselves first by first and last name and affiliation for the public record, then to provide their comment each and every time they speak. I will now hand the meeting back to the chair.
Okay, I am going to take a roll call vote of who is here. Gary Ellis here. Liz Hartsgrove.
Present.
Christine.
Here.
George.
Here.
Marianne. Is Marianne muted? She's muted.
She is here. Let's see. Marianne, try to unmute yourself.
Okay, there I am. Am I unmuted? Merry
Yeah.
Christmas.
You're unmuted now.
Am I unmuted?
Yes.
Okay,
So you're here. Just say here.
here.
Here. How are you?
Good.
Good.
My husband does that to me, unmutes me all the time, so I'm so used to it.
I know. I wish I had one at home.
I'm unmuted. I just got my new computer and
So I think because Rick Bishop isn't here, we can start with the presentation for the second one, which is the culvert restoration. That Bob, you're doing that, correct?
That's correct.
So if you want to, we all have the application. If you want to start by describing your project, and then
Yep.
George, go ahead.
Just a question, Don Marie. There's a second Bob Kelley
Right.
on the screen. Is that Fred Ecker?
I don't see him. Hold on.
Don't
Because
see-
Bob shows
I
twice.
see Rick is over there as an attendee. Oh, that's right, because Rick could not get he couldn't get the invitation as a panelist.
well, that's Karen Green calling me. Wait a minute. That's okay. I turned it off.
Hi, Rick, are you there?
I am here.
Hi, I'm sorry, I didn't notice you over in the attendee window.
I've been waving my hand.
Karen, thank you.
Rick, just
So that's my fault. Do you mind then if we go back to the original order, Gary, of the agenda?
no, I think I already started with Bob Kelley, so let's go ahead with that. Rick, you're okay with that? If you have to,
Absolutely. Sure. No, I'm fine.
okay,
Thanks.
I gotta turn my phone off.
Okay.
yes,
I'd like to start with a statement.
go ahead.
Okay. My name is Bob Kelley, and I'm the president of the Historical Society of Old Yarmouth. I want to thank you for hearing our application for CPA funding concerning the culvert project at HSOY. After some in-depth research on the HSOY property, it has been determined that about 1890, Henry C. Thatcher erected a stone ford across a hand-dug ditch so the public could gain access to the first golf course in Yarmouth, which was located on his property adjacent to his house. Today, this ford provides access to about 5,000 people who walk our 2 miles of trails annually. Recently, the ford has begun to fail by evidence of stones collapsing, causing one side of the crossing to sink. In times of heavy precipitation, the ditch acts as a conduit from an up-gradient wetlands located behind the old Yarmouth Inn to a down-gradient wetlands, eventually emptying into Short Wharf Creek. This has rendered the driveway unsafe for heavy vehicles to cross the ditch. The crumbling stones have created a dam and prevents the overflow water from passing through the culvert area to the down-gradient wetlands, which creates a flooding condition on the up-gradient wetland side. The ditch backs up and floods the basement of the cobbler shop, which is our library, archives, and research center. The standing water is also a harbor for mosquito breeding. This project is in 2 phases. The first phase is to create a notice of intent with a survey and permitting plan for the Yarmouth Conservation Commission to review. HSOI has already made an $8,000 investment with a contract to Down Cape Engineering to complete this phase in 2020. The second phase is to rebuild the culvert, and we have obtained 2 preliminary quotes to complete this phase in 2021. We have the full support of our Board of Trustees, along with Yarmouth's Fire and Health Departments and Yarmouth's Conservation Committee. We are pleased to answer any questions you may have concerning this essential project. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Bob. Does anybody go around, anybody have any questions of Bob? Raise your hand. Everybody familiar with the culvert, where it is and what's involved? I know I am. I'm there probably once a week, so. Anybody have any questions? So I have a question for Bob, if you don't.
Yeah.
On the, you got 2 bids.
Yeah.
One was from Bortolotti, the other's from Robert Hour, correct?
Correct.
So my question would be, did you solicit any from contractors in Yarmouth?
They're located in Yarmouth, aren't they?
Who?
Robert Hour, his office,
Who's in
I
Dennis?
think- I think
Dennis.
they're on, yeah, they're in.
White's Path, it's White's Path, I
No,
think.
no, Bobby Hour is on Great Western in Dennis. And nothing against him. I mean, he did a great job. He did the Baxter Mill Dam. And he did a wonderful job with that. And there's a lot of people from Yarmouth who work for him.
I think he subcontracts out a lot of his work.
He does. My son-in-law works for him.
Oh, maybe he did my septic. I just had a septic system put in.
Yeah. I
To
was
answer,
just asking Bob if he
Yeah.
solicited any Yarmouth.
we did not. We actually defaulted a little bit to Down Cape.
Yeah.
We were kind of in a hurry. There is some immediacy to the issue with cars driving back and forth over the culvert. And we finally got approval through our board to complete phase 1, and we couldn't get a quote until Down Cape came up with some kind of a drawing or sketch that a construction company could actually quote on. And so Down Cape is still working on it, but they did a preliminary drawing, which they sent to these 2 contractors. So we can still go to a 3rd contractor.
Okay. I mean, my only comment from looking at the bids, there seemed to be a substantial difference.
Yeah, and
Do
I
we know-
think, if I might, I think that the plan from Down Cape was a preliminary plan. I believe there are a number of contingencies in there. The Bortolotti quote is much more detailed in its scope. then is Robert Hour.
Right,
I'm sorry, the other way around. The other way around.
yes. The other way.
And so when I review those two quotes, there's a lot of detail missing from the Bortolotti quote. And I believe that quote is underbid with what has to be done there.
Probably correct. So I would highly recommend it. Let anybody else jive in, but you have time, you're gonna get the final plan. I think you should get 3 bids. And if any way possible, try and get a Yarmouth contractor. You could talk with Downcape about that. They might be able to recommend somebody. Because, you know, when it's CPA funds, we always try and
Yep.
keep as many of the funds in town. And like you just said, I know there's a number of people that work for Bobby Hour that live in Yarmouth.
Right.
Okay, does anybody else have any questions or comments?
No.
Christine?
Just wanted to comment on the need for this bridge going across. It was 10 years ago when I was president of the Historical Society that there were fires in the walking trails. And somebody had lit 7 different fires along the entrance side of the trails. The large fire trucks were able to cross that bridge. And you know, the need is great because there's 50 acres of property here. That's the only way that they can get into that to protect the Kelley Chapel, the blacksmith shop, the various buildings that are there. So I would say that the need for this is great.
Yeah, that is the only access that I can think of.
It is.
You're walking, it's a long ways to walk with a fire hose. Okay, anybody else have any questions or comments?
No.
If not, you know, good job, Bob. Thanks for bringing it forward. I think it's something we absolutely need to do. That's it, especially with what's going on now with COVID, with those walking trails.
They're open all year. They've been open all year. They've been busy all year, and it's been great.
I know, last time I walked them, I saw you.
Yeah, we built the We2 there this
great.
past
And
summer.
anybody who has not seen that should go and look at that. It's awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, we've already had 3 events there, so it's been great. So I will seek a 3rd bid and try and get a Yarmouth contractor.
Yeah, wait till you know, get the plans complete from Downcape, or you're going to be going back and forth.
Yeah, I've touched base with them today and told them I needed the finished plans done.
Unfortunately, they are horribly busy, like all of us in this business. So they'll have to keep pushing them.
Yep, I will.
I know you will. Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Bob.
Thanks, Bob.
Thanks,
Thank
Bob.
you.
Thanks, Bob.
Thank you.
Okay. Next, I will go ahead and introduce, I think you all know him, Rick Bishop, who's going to do the Bass River Watershed Restoration project that he's been working on. I know when we took the tour, I know, George, you took it. Christine, you've done it, correct?
No, I was
You
at
haven't?
the dentist that day.
I'd encourage anybody, and Rick would take any of you. This is a project you really need to go walk and see to understand the scope of it. I didn't understand till I did it. There is a lot of open space conservation area involved in the benefits of this. So I'm just starting that to introduce and explain the project. So Rick, anytime you're ready, why don't you go ahead and explain? I think ahead of time, you got the questions from some of our committee members, correct, Rick?
I have 2 questions from George. Those are the only 2 I received, but I'm happy to answer any questions. First of all, I'd like to thank the CPC very much for entertaining this application, and also the members that I was able to tour a few months ago. We had a good time, and it's interesting. Since then, we've taken up a bald eagle as a permanent resident to the area. I've seen him about 15 days in a row, so it's pretty exciting.
But when I,
Wow, that's
when I,
nice.
when I talked with you last night, you said West End. I know you don't want to, I'm not going to tell anybody, but where exactly can we see that?
You'd have to arrange for a tour with me.
Oh, come on. I've already done it twice. I just want to take some pictures of it. You have some awesome pictures of the eagle.
Thank you. There was one day the eagle was sitting in the osprey pole in the nest. And then for about 5 or 6 days after that, they were just to the north of that pole along the shore. And then one day there was a pair of them. I haven't seen the pair beyond just one time. But, they seem very, very comfortable. They want me to stop bothering them, actually. So to fill in some blanks and give you a basic understanding of the project is designed to result in improvements to the water quality of the Upper Bass River watershed, which is really critical. The water up there is very ill. The Mass Division of Fisheries designated it prohibited for fishing and shell fishing years ago. We have a serious nitrogen and dissolved oxygen problem. In Gary and my lifetime, there's been so much building in that area that the nitrogen just runs right into it. But a natural solution to that is to take the retired cranberry bogs and return them to their historic wetland state. That becomes a wonderful sink for carbon and nitrogen, and it does a lot of work towards restoring the waterways to the level of health they should be. But it's really remarkable, and I was as equally as surprised as Gary was when I first started investigating the area. There's 52.7 acres of retired cranberry bogs that will do the work for us. There's also a former herring run that in 1870 produced the second largest herring harvest in all of Massachusetts that is completely out of service. It's blocked. There's no way for the herring to get there, but that will be part of this project as well. But I think what I've learned, and I've been working with the engineering firms very closely the last few months, the recreational opportunities for walkways and paths and scenic overviews is really startling, and it's very, very exciting. I just think it'll be a just tremendous addition to the inventory the town has for conservation area that people can readily enjoy. The federal government was appreciated our application to the point where they awarded us $257,000 to fund the first 2 phases of this project. And one of the things I was asking for you to consider is to consider funding the 3rd and final phase, because study and planning and is really the key to this, for this to work for all of us as residents of the town of Yarmouth. So it's if you look at our application, which I'm sure you have, page 7 and 9 of the application shows where the funds for this final phase would go, and to really laying out exactly what the results will be. I know George asked in a couple of questions, who will pay for each milestone? And the EPA funds take us right through phases 1 and 2 with the 3 different engineering firms. However, he had another question he was confused about who they would be. And just so you understand, federal procurement procedures do not allow for listing the name of service providers. That's why we had them listed as A, B, and C. And you were able to discover them down the road, but it's something we have to do by the federal rules. You also had a question about how can we include labor and materials donated by the town of Yarmouth when taxpayers are paying for it. The town's not giving us any materials. What they're doing is giving us time. It's really just a credit for time, because it's a way for us to formally involve pertinent departments of the town so they understand what we're doing, so they're not surprised. I recently toured Jeff Colby, and it was very interesting. I can tell you anecdotally, I could see the wheels turning in his head as he was thinking, wow, this project can actually happen rather quickly and will start improving water quality. Whereas phase 8 of the sewer plan, it's going to be 40 to 50 years before sewering will be in this part of our town. So it's a great way to involve the members of the town departments that are important. But again, it's just a way to give them credit for their time. There's no real cost. And you had a question about alternative funding sources. We are in very close contact with the Commonwealth of Mass DER. Alex Hackman is making his career rehabilitating former cranberry bogs. So that's going to be a resource for us as well, but it's a little down the road. So I hope I've answered your questions. If you have more, please feel free.
I just want to comment, George, in the past, when we've done playgrounds and stuff for the town, for the recreation department, we kind of give them credit for using town forces whenever they can to cut down on, because they're already on the payroll. Truly, it's not a matching fund, but this is basically, it's a town project. So the more that Jeff and, DPW can bring to the table to help reduce the cost, we've always encouraged that. So I know why you're asking about including that in matching funds, but in a way it kind of is. So
Thank you.
we've done it in the past with the playgrounds, with the Little League fields and all that stuff. So does anybody else have any questions or comments for Rick? George?
Rick, what's the status on the Kelley Foundation grant? I know that you mentioned that it was end of October, it was pending. Have you had any word from them?
No, actually, we had to hold back for one reason, and we've just this week resubmitted our application. We've had a number of conversations with the Cape Cod Foundation, and hopefully it'll be reviewed favorably. I think we are extremely lucky in that the town of Yarmouth owns all of the property that we're looking at. So it's going to make ultimately this project much more viable instead of having to deal with private property owners, which the Coonamessett River Foundation in Falmouth has just finished a very similar project. The Childs River, which is owned by the Falmouth Rod and Gun Club, is in the process of completing one of these projects, and it has a lot of momentum right now because they can see the results.
And they're also doing the same thing. I forget the name. They're doing it down in Wellfleet.
Yeah.
Resounding support from the town to redo the river. It's the same basically what's happening. I go there quite a bit as you head out to Great Island. So the bridge that goes underneath that, but that's, I'm going to say on the right side as you go over the bridge, that resource area is just overgrown with algae and nitrogen. And they're going to do the same thing there, open that up, and the town is there with completely behind this, just like they were in Falmouth. So I think it's a great project for the town itself.
George has another question.
So Rick, if all the stars are aligned and Mercury's not in retrograde, when do you think the shovel will hit the dirt?
I love the way you put that, George, because virtually everyone I spoke to when I first started the application process for this SNAP grant, the EPA grant, they said, it's like, you'll be lucky to win the lottery, and we got it. And so I think if everything aligned, we would be able to start in about a year and a half.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Christine?
Hi, Rick. I just have two things I'd like you to describe. That walking trail that goes from the North Dennis Road Bridge, that's going to go all the way over to Liana Road. Is that correct?
The North Dennis Road walking trail, it's interesting you bring that up, Christine. Ever since the railroad bridge was replaced with the bicycle bridge, we've seen a dramatic increase in the volume of water that has gone to the undersized culvert under North Dennis Road. Woods Hole Group just sent me a report showing that there's now an additional 1.5 to 2 feet of tide that gets there now. And it has undercut and eroded the bank so severely that walking trail has been shut down because it's been damaged by so much of the volume that's coming through. It's one of the reasons we need so desperately to increase the size of that culvert on North Dennis Road to eliminate the velocity issue. We do not have that part of the trail on our plan because that was something that Carl Von Holm, the National Resources Officer, had handled in the past. So I think it's something that will be looked at by his department once we get down the road.
Okay, as you know, I live on Leona Road. That would give us wonderful access.
I do.
I do. That would open up our neighborhood to the walking trail.
In theory, there could be a walking trail on the entire north shore of the Crab Creek and the pond.
You know, there's an ancient way there.
I do.
Okay.
Yes.
My second comment is, could you describe the access? I guess it's along Hamlin's Brook for the herring run. I assume you go all the way up through Mount Milton, down Hamlin's Pond, and where does that end up, in Miss Thatcher's Pond?
That's correct. Yes, Miss Thatcher's Pond. There are two kidneys. Miss Thatcher's Pond. One is a little smaller than the other. There's a fish ladder that goes into the smaller one. And what we've been able to discover that I don't think very few people knew was that the smaller portion of that was originally a cranberry bog, and that the larger portion was the pond. So that opens up a number of opportunities. Perhaps removing that concrete fish ladder that's there now and creating a more of a canal to the larger pond. It's all being looked at. But that's right today where it would go if we opened up. There are actually 11 water control structures between Mill Pond and Miss Thatcher's Pond that block off any opportunity for fish to get through.
Okay, thank you.
You're
Very
welcome.
Okay. Anybody else have any more questions of Rick? Rick, I just have one last question, which any plan, I know it's been in the works to do dredging of Bass River further out as it goes down. As you know, there's parts of that have infills. Some was going to be done by Yarmouth, some by Dennis. You know what the update is on that, where that stands?
Yeah, I'm pretty much up to speed on that. 3 years ago, when I was chairman of the Conservation Commission, I signed a 10-year license for Dennis to dredge all the way up into Kelley's Bay. I think starting within the next week or two, the dredge will be in the outer reaches of Bass River and working up towards the Bass River Bridge. That's under the auspices of the Yarmouth Natural Resources.
So is that the county dredge?
It is. And what has to happen is we have to have the dredging completed, because when they rebuild the Bass River Bridge on Route 28, a lot of that bridge is coming in on precast concrete sections, and they're going to need the depth to get the barge up there with those pieces. So that will help our case. But we need more volume to get up to the very end of the river to improve flushing overall for Bass River.
I know I've been out there in a boat, and sometimes you can't even get through there.
Sure.
Right. Any more questions of Rick? Again, nice job, Rick. It's a great project.
Thank you very
Probably
much.
never even would have thought of it if you hadn't brought it forward. So going with it, keep working on it, in my opinion.
Thank you very much for your time, everyone, and
All right.
support.
Thank you, Rick.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Rick.
Thank you.
By the way, Kelley, Rick,
Yes?
I'm going to call you.
Okay.
Go and see the eagle.
You're on. Sounds good.
All right. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Include me.
I'd like to go along on that trip. Since I-
My pleasure.
I'll let you know.
Okay,
Good.
Thank you.
thanks.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Hey, Don, I guess the third we have on there are the upcoming meetings, and I think we've all commented, good job. They all seem to be bunched. So we got two more meetings with interviews, correct, Don?
That's correct. I know that the next meeting on December 2nd is actually 4 applications. But the housing buy down program and the general deposit for the housing trust are pretty standard from year to year. So I thought that they could be handled together.
No, I think it's perfect. Anybody have any
Great.
comments about the upcoming meetings or anything? We skipped next week, right, because of Thanksgiving?
Right. And theoretically, yeah, we could be, if we vote on the 16th of December, then we're in good shape.
Yep. Maybe we should vote. No, I'm just being sarcastic. Maybe we should vote 1 hour before town meeting in the spring.
Oh,
So
we could do that.
we could do that. All right, what else do we have? Staff updates? Anybody have any updates? George?
So as a result of last meeting, when we talked about the coastal engineering report in the barn, the CPA application. So it was discussed at the next meeting the week following at the Yarmouth Historical Commission. And so the commission made a recommendation that that Karen and Jeff go back and take a look at the last point that was raised in the engineering report 2 years ago, was that given their concern of all of the deterioration and the collapse of and damage to some of the sills, their recommendation that there was a real opportunity to add bracing on the north and south side of the outside of the building to give it rigidity. So Karen took it under advisement, and she has let us know that she talked to Jeff, and they are going to be meeting with Coastal to revisit that and get a sense of looking at that seriously, so that we don't have to deal with shoulda, woulda, coulda. So that's an update and a follow-up of that.
Oh, that's good. Good. Okay, Liz, any updates from planning board? I know you probably want to talk about your vision.
Yeah, big thing. The virtual meetings are happening. Actually, the first one, we have 3 of them. The first one, sorry, 3. I put up 2 fingers instead. Virtual meetings are tonight at 5:30. The first one. Second one is on December 7th at 9 a.m. And then the third one is December 15th at 2 p.m. So that gives a little bit of a balance for people's schedules. And there is pre-registration, but you can pre-register up to even 5:25 and then join if there's spaces. We do limit it to 80 as of right now for tonight. I believe the last time I checked, we had about 25 to 30 people. But it's going to be a really good SWOT analysis discussion about the future of Yarmouth. And so I encourage everyone to at least seize one of those days and participate.
I will. Kathy was handing out flyers last night at town meeting to everybody too.
Sure she was. So yeah, thank you.
Okay, Christine, anything on open space? If you could, because I asked you this week, maybe an update on our plans for Yankee Village, the park.
We have to work on Yankee Village. Hopefully over the winter, the RFPs will go out for the landscaping and the trails and the bridge. And by next summer, that should be it should be in place. I'm hopeful. Also, I had a meeting last week, and we should have 2 new members on open space. That will bring us up to 5 members, and these 2 people are from West Yarmouth, so it'll give us a little bit more of a balance on the committee.
So when you go for Yankee Village on the park, do you still have to, do you have to go to conservation because of the bridge?
Oh, yeah. You need permission from God. It's a bridge over a protected waterway. We can't even prune along the waterway with permission from, I believe it has to come from the state even.
Yeah, it does. I believe so.
Yeah, the plan has to be approved by the state.
That's where I see your time delay.
That's right.
So anything else on open space?
That's it for now.
Okay, 2 new members is good news. George, historic? Any update? Okay, Mary Ann, give us some housing.
No, nothing going.
By the way, you got too many Christmas decorations there.
I know, you like my snowman. I have about 40 of them, so I'm ridiculous at Christmas time.
I can see that.
Yeah, there's a lot of them, yeah.
Oh,
That's okay. We need some cheer.
Well, that's what
We
I
love
figured,
them.
but everybody
Bring them
was
in.
so
Bring them
sad.
in.
I don't want to go too, but I need to ask why I have Liz, did you hear what happened with Barnstable Historic meeting last night?
With historic?
Yep.
About which application?
Now, which application, what happened with the Zoom meeting?
No,
Well, you should ask around town.
I will. I'll ask.
It's
Matt
unbelievable.
Simmons.
It's
I'll ask.
unbelievable.
That's all I have to say.
You'll hear about it. All right. What else do we have done? Anything?
We have the match number,
The what?
the state match number.
Oh, right. Which Karen didn't mention last night, but she was prepared to. It was really difficult for me at 10. I figured it was best to not say anything.
I agree.
Because I could see it was going to pass, but I know it was difficult to sit there and not chime in with some of the comments. Sometimes you're better off not saying anything and opening up a can of worms.
Worms.
Yep, because somebody made the comment, well, who knows what's going to happen with the state? Well, we know what's happening with the state this year. And I think it's only going to get better because it's coming from the real estate transactions and everybody's moving to Cape Cod. And they just can't, the state can't all of a sudden tomorrow say, well, we're not giving that money to CPA. That's a law. So we're already getting that. So the match has gone up quite a bit. Maybe you want to talk about that. And if anybody hasn't seen it, Don can let you know what it is.
I can, and I haven't worked too extensively with this this matching piece, but the final total distribution number, because I understand that we qualify for all 3 rounds of distribution.
Yep.
At the end of all 3 rounds, Yarmouth will be granted $593,429.
And if we'd gone to the 1% or reduction of 1%, that would be gone. So the finance committee, I probably shouldn't say, but I can't help it. The finance committee actually going to the selectmen and saying the state match was going away. Maybe they shouldn't be on the finance committee when you're going to make that comment. Because
I'd like to make that motion.
what?
I'd like to make that a motion, please.
But anyways, it was so hard not to comment on that when it came up, but we didn't, and came across being correct. So,
Dawn Marie, can you give me that number again?
Sure. After all 3 rounds, our final total distribution is $593,429.
Thank you.
So the big piece of the pie is round 1, of course, and that's $536,223. So that'll be, that'll be a good place to start with these applications that we've got.
which is huge.
Great. Yep.
Okay, do we have anything else, Don?
I was just going to mention, I know that Debbie Clark is on the selectmen's next agenda to be approved. So I've got prepared materials to give her so that she can hopefully get caught up
Yep.
as soon as she's able.
She was at town meeting last night.
Oh, great. No, I don't have anything else. We have no meeting next week, like you said. Thanksgiving. I hope everyone is planning a happy and safe Thanksgiving.
All of you have a safe Thanksgiving, and we'll look forward
Thank
to
you,
seeing you after.
everybody.
Thanks for being here.
Thank
And
you.
nothing but good news.
That's
For
great.
once.
Motion to adjourn?
Motion to,
Seconded.
then I have to do roll call. Motion to adjourn was by who?
Liz.
Liz. Seconded by Christine. All in favor, Liz?
Aye.
Gary? Yes. Christine?
Aye.
George?
Aye.
Mary Ann?
Aye.
Get some more decorations up, Mary
I
Ann.
will. I'll
Next
do a new
meeting-
theme.
meeting, I wanna see more. Okay.
All right,
Thanks,
guys,
Don.
be safe.
Yeah, everybody be safe. Have a happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. You
Take
too.
care, all.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Don.
Thank you, guys.